Hi guys, this is Vishal. So this video will explain DataWeave language used in Mule 4 version with real-time examples. We'll simply cover JSON to JSON and JSON to XML data transformations. So let's get started.
Okay, now if we go to DWL 2.0, the MuleSoft has provided a huge amount of documentation for DWL, and it's you can say it's a very vast language that we are going to use. And so DWL has many features, so we'll try to cover as many things as possible. Okay, so what we'll do in real-time specific scenarios, some of the things like we have implemented last time. We implemented our product service app. Our product service app is ready, but the thing is right now what we have is that our product service app, or it just only caters to the JSON data. That means any data we have, we only return back the JSON response. Now we will just play around it and see if we can get that data into the XML format or not, or can we transform the data into the some specifically different JSON format, because implementation is different, because implementation that we decide what to return back, right? So we will see how can we use JSON and the DWL language. We'll see the two part of it: one by simply drag and drop, and second by actually manually writing your own core logic in DWL. Okay, all right. So we'll move forward. So we had many APIs, we can say, like get products by ID. These are two mainly products that we are going to focus on, because get product returns array of JSON, and products by ID return the single object of JSON. That's single product object, because it's a single JSON, it's not an array. So we can apply our transformation logic on these two first and see how we can play around it, right? So we'll get started. So as of now, this is very the one we had earlier. It's a running code, the behavior hasn't changed. And first we'll take the get products by ID, get products, my bad, so which returns array of JSONs. So first things, that this is our request. We make a request to our actual service, the product service. We'll take the data and we just simply return back to user, as this is a current behavior. Now what we can do is that we can place one transform message for the transformation in DWL. To code transformation in DWL language, MuleSoft has provided one component, that is transform message, as we saw earlier. So we can place one transform message component over here to take the output data or the response which is coming from this request, and can write a code in the transformation logic in such a way that I just want to take only specific data out of that JSON and respond it back to user. So first of all, we'll see two way. Okay, first we will see JSON to JSON. That means over here, let's say this is a product array. Okay, in JSON format. Okay, this is will be in JSON format, and we'll try to convert it into the JSON. But instead of taking entire element, we'll see some specific element. So let's say our output will be like, response will be like this. So let's say product ID will be one element. Then we'll take only product name. Then we'll take something like uh, what we can say price, or we'll say it's a cost. We'll take these elements, and instead of manufacturing details, we have a manufacturing as a different object. So instead of taking that, we'll take some of the elements like location, one the company location, and the company name. Instead of taking all, we'll just take simply very specific, and we'll create only single object out of it for one product. So if it's array, there will be product of array of products. So first we will do JSON to JSON, and then we will move for second is for JSON to XML form. If I open my Mule palette, this is the transform message component which we are going to use to code our DWL language. Okay, so let me pull and put it here. Okay, it takes some time to open. All right, so it has opened. So let me make large. So this is our flow. This is the transform message property palette. Okay, we'll go just simply walk through over the transform message component. So basically we have like once you open the transform message, once you double click on the transform message, you'll get this kind of a screen. On the left hand side you will say this is the input metadata, and the right hand side you will see the output metadata. So input metadata means nothing but the what do you have to transform, what are the inputs you can take into the transform message to write your transformation. Because you need to have some data in your hand, then only you can apply your transformation on that data, right? And the output is nothing but the what type of data you will get back. Okay, what is going to have, what would be the output of that your transformation. That it's just a prediction. It may not be correct, because it just transform message will give you a prediction based on number of the components, number of the components you placed before transform message component and after transform message component. Okay, now before that we have one request, which is making a request and returning back the payload. And the payload is refined because payload is nothing but the product array, right? So that is one. And we're not taking anything from the request, right? It's just a simple get call. And the transform output by default as of now, it is considering that you will be taking the same product array and will be passing. So that is going to be output metadata. So by default the transform message, the output type is in Java. That's the reason the product array is displayed in the output metadata in Java file. All right, now now what we can do is that before that, this is going to be our main coding editor, where we are going to write a logic. So first the structure of the DWL start with the first metadata, which is this percentage operator, and then DW and the 2.0. This defines the version which you're using, because in the Mule 4 default version for DWL is 2.0. And then second line defines the output type. By default again it's application/Java. In case if you want to change to JSON or XML or CSV, just simply change this output type, that application./XML or CSV. all right, as of now let me change it back to Java. And this is three you can say dash line, which signifies that whatever your logic to code or for transformation should start after that. So this basically two curly braces defines that this is basically says the start of your logic. So if I just simply remove it, and it will give error because we made some syntactical changes. And basically what we can do is that we're going to receive data from this request, that is going to be a payload. So what we'll do first, that we don't want to do first, we'll do just simply use payload to take whatever the output we are getting out of that request, and we'll send it back to user. Okay, but that output type would be in Java format. So if I change this to JSON, it will be the same. Whatever the behavior it was having before transform message component, it would remain the same, because we are not doing any kind of transformation. It was just simply kept payload as is in the JSON form. So whatever the input data we have for the transformation, the same we are reflecting back to output. So this is the first one. So this is actually the syntactical structure of our transformation component. So now the thing is what we can say, the way to code your logic, you need to have some idea what kind of response or what kind of input metadata you have over here. How would you code it? Because the catch in Mule 4 or in MuleSoft basically is that, or maybe you can say it's a flaw in DWL, that you cannot debug the code in DWL. MuleSoft does not allow you. MuleSoft allows you to debug your flow, but you cannot debug in between your DWL logic. So MuleSoft allows you to, on real-time basis, you can check or you can preview your output. So if we see over here on the right hand side, there is a button called preview. So if I click on it, So whatever, as of now it may not show because we haven't defined the input metadata over here. So the real-time basis, whatever the logic you will be coding, you'll be seeing that the response, how does your response will look like. That response you may preview at the real-time basis. So your logic may be correct, or maybe like it assumes that you have to write a perfect logic while coding it. So that preview has been provided. So first of all, we'll do is that we'll just define an input metadata. Okay, this input metadata is basically output of this request. This request is get products, and get products is going to return array of products that is in a JSON format. So let me just let me go to first the metadata. So certainly this going to be our metadata. So this is our JSON. So if I open it, so output from our request, from the product request, product service, is going to be in this format, right? This is going to be this sort of output we're going to take. Not exactly the same, it's just a metadata. So, or we can say a sample response. Okay, this type of output, we just want to understand the structure because it's JSON and this is an array. So this sort of data will be retrieving back from this request. So we will defining that metadata over here. Okay, so if I just click on this define metadata, it will open one window to choose a metadata type. If I click on add, let's say give them a name, like say get products. Get products input metadata. Okay, create type. It will take some time. Okay, now it says type. So type is in JSON form. So this is JSON response. This is JSON sample data we're defining. Okay. Now there are two types. You can define the metadata in two ways. One, either you define a schema or you define an example. We have that as an example. So we'll click on the example and we'll choose that file. So it's somewhere placed. I kept it over here. Okay, this is my JSON form. So I click on it. This is JSON format, and these many elements I have in my response. I'll be having in my response. So I select it. So I define my input metadata. So it will load on the right hand side at the down. You can see it's resolving the metadata. All right, now you can see it has updated the left hand side panel with the input metadata. So input metadata is nothing going to be an array object. So right now it's going to show in array form because it's a product array. Product array has these like one product object, one product JSON object will be having these many elements like product name, product ID, type, price, and manufacturing details. It's a nested object within product. Okay, so as of now we're directly mapping that payload. We are not changing anything, so it will directly map. And right now you can see the preview is running because we have selected the input metadata. So we have some sort of sample response on which preview can be run. So response saying that whatever the input you have, you're just reflecting back the same data to the output. So it's just like a mirror image, right, as of now. Okay, so we are having this like straight mapping, no nothing, we change it. Okay, now what we can do is that we'll just simply play around it, because as of now you can see, let me just make it like bigger. Okay, just two. Okay, this is preview, this is response. So you can see the response, it's array. Okay, an array has two elements, you can say. This is one element, this is second element, and this entire payload is representing this array. If I want to take a single element out of it, okay, how would you do? In general, since it's based on the Java language on in array, in order to retrieve data or object from particular index, you just need to use this and 0. I'm saying that retrieve the object from index 1 of that product array. So payload is an array, and this is the syntax, square bracket and 0. That is a 0 is the index. So take the data from 0th index. Now we have the size of an array is 2, and the index starting from, always starts from 0. So first is 0, second is 1. Now it will take data from second index. Now the product ID is 102, so if I change it to 0, you can see the product ID will change to 101, because over here you can see this is the 0th index and this is the 1th index. Okay. Since it's an array, that's why we can use this index spacing accessing. Okay, now I just take back. Now you can see this is one product, this is second product, so we don't have anything. So right now, can I access those elements in between that directly? Okay, so if I just simply use payload dot, and if you just type control space, or before typing control space, you'll see how many elements within that product has. Product has product name, product ID, each product object it's describing. Okay, so it has a product name. Okay, now the type, basically it's showing array of string, because the payload is array, that's why the product name has array of string. Again, we have product ID, product type, price, and all the objects within single. So if I use a product name, as of now, it will change and retrieve back two objects. It will return back the array of string, because right now we are running over product array. So if I choose product name, actually it is called a selector. The product name, actually this much syntax is called a value selector, and we are trying to select a value from this payload to retrieve this product name. And product name is basically, its product is this payload is array, and whenever you're trying to retrieve any element out of array, it will give you back elements from all the elements. It will return back that elements from all the objects, from all the index. So if I go back over here, if now I'm trying to retrieve this, so it will return you back with the details, with the product name details of first index as well as second index. Okay, that's why we are getting values for both the product names in the first index as well as second index. Similarly, if I change this product name to something, let's say product ID, okay, it will give you back 101 and 102, right? Same way for other, let's say now we'll change to manufacturing details. Can we get the manufacturing details? Okay, now see, this will give you return back the manufacturing details, and manufacturing detail itself is an object, and it will retrieve back the objects for both the index 0th and second, the first and second index. If your product array is of multiple index, like if a product array with size of 10, it will return back an array of 10 objects. Okay, that's how DWL works. Now this is just like, first let's take this product name for now. Okay, now this is one full array. Can I take only single object? I just want to take a product name of first index. Again, we can use index spacing. Okay, payload 0 says select the first object, and out of that first object just choose product name. Okay, so it will take only product name. Now in JSON you cannot have only this much. In JSON always represents the format in key and value. So this is value, the Dell laptop is a value, this is key, this is value. Okay, so can I apply key to my this product name? Yes. So to apply key, before your value logic, just use anything, any name you can, you want to put it for that as a key. So for product name I would just simply use name and colon. So this becomes my object. So now it has turned into a JSON object. So this is how the JSON structure will look like. This is my key and this is my value. Same in a similar way, can I take other values? You have to put a comma after like for each other elements. So if I want to take a product ID, so I'll use ID. This name can be anything. Then payload, which right now we're just retrieving back from first element. So product ID. So it has given some error because it has to be, the thing is, this product details, whatever the JSON response we're going to create, it should be wrapped, the JSON structure should be always in this format. Okay, this is one curly bracket. Before that it should be like, let's say product, okay, like this, and then you should have a key and value pair. Okay, like let's say you cannot, either you have a double quote or single without quote, it works. So let's say name, it should be in this format. Then let's say payload 0 dot product name. Okay, comma, then it should be ID, and then we'll say it's like payload 0 dot product ID. The JSON structure this should be in this format because it should first have a parent, the main tag, the main key, and then key has an object. This is one object, and then it has under that it has a key and value. So same way we'll try to use it over here. I'll just simply, what we can do is that simply just wrap this under this. Even if you don't use that key, still it works. Okay, so this is where one key and value, this is second key and value. And in JSON, specifically in JSON, this key, this first parent tag or first parent key is not mandatory. You can have just simply this much. Okay, you can have this kind of structure as well. Okay, now I want to take some more values. So what do we have more values with us? So this is our response. So we have like product type, we have a price, we have under warranty, we have manufacturing details. So let's take one price, and then we'll go to manufacturing details data. So what I can do is that I'll use price. So instead of price, I want to use cost as a key or label, and then I'll go for payload 0. I'm just right now we're just pulling out of 0th index dot. We have different elements over here. Now I want to map this cost to price. Right? Got it? Now we got price. Now second, I want to take from manufacturing details. So we have some of the details like location, company name, and manufacturing date. So I don't want to take nested object as is. I can use that elements directly within my single object. So let's say location. So I'll just simply use location object, and then payload from 0th index, select. Okay, then I choose manufacturing details dot what things I want, location. Okay, I got it, location. So what it says, choose the first index, out of that choose the manufacturing details, and within manufacturing details choose company location. Okay, I'm using, instead of having the nested object again, instead of that I'm just choosing only location in my main object. Okay, now again comma, I'll use one more called company name. So company, okay, payload at 0th index dot manufacturing details, I'll select this dot company name. Okay, so let's say this is my object I have created. I only want these many data to be passed to user. Okay, so this is about the creating the structure. Now what we can do is that we can have our, within this structure you can have one nested structure just like the manufacturing details. This is one JSON, right? Within this one JSON object, this is manufacturing is a second JSON object. So same way we can have our own when we are trying to map it. So let's say I'll take these names. Okay, let's try to put it in other objects. Okay, let's say we'll put some key like extra details. Okay, then this is going to be a key colon. Let's open the curly bracket. So this defines you're going to have a different object within your main JSON object, and over here I just paste this. Okay, now basically I have created nested JSON object within my main parent object. Okay, now few things I just want to mention over here is that if you have noticed one thing, this name is double quoted. This location key basically I'm talking about the values is double quoted. This is double quoted, but ID and cost values are not double quoted. If I go to our this form over here also, this is not double quoted. What does it mean? Basically it means that the name, this tail, what is this? It's a product name, right? Product name is in string format, location is in string format, company is also in string format. However, product ID, this is product ID and this is price, is not in string format. These are in number format. Okay, by default, because we set in our product details, right? We said that ID will be in number format, price will be in number format. Okay, that's why we do not have double quote surrounding that. Let's say, what if I want to take that both ID and cost as a number, as a string? I don't want to take it as a number. Okay, so what I can do is that MuleSoft has provided one operator. MuleSoft has a many operator. Basically in DWL has many operator, but in order to convert type of one element, okay, the fundamental type of some element, you can use as operator. Okay, so basically what I can do, I simply say this is defining as a number. So I would say I will take this ID as string. So string is basically a type in DWL. So it should always start with a capital. Any data type, it's let's like string, or let's say number, or any data type. So these many data types we have: array, C data, comparable, date time. We have like local date time, local time. Okay, we have many. So right now I'll say I'm going to take this type as a string. So I'm saying that I will take this product ID as a string. So if you can see, automatically it will wrap that value under quotes. Same way I can say I'll take price as also string. Again it will wrap. Okay, so this is a one way to convert the numbers or any value to format into different formats. We'll look into that, how we can use at the deep level of like converting one element type of one object to other one. Basically it's more importantly, or we will focus more on changing the formats of dates, because that's the one we will more focus on. Okay, as of now I will remove it because I just want to keep that as a number operator. Okay, right now so far what we have done is that we use index, that like as a 0 as operator to choose the values. We specifically choose the values from the 0th index, but not always you want to do it manually. Like you cannot have, or you cannot use that index based logic every time. What if you want to convert the data of all of your index, let's say your object, or let's say your array of size 100, or maybe n, let's say your size of an array is n can be any number. That times index based logic will not work. So you need to have something which helps you to iterate or loop over that elements and help you to transform that. So what can be that thing? So what can we use? to iterate over elements. So MuleSoft has, so first operator we checked, okay, list of operators I'll say. So first operator, there are many operators, so we'll say first operator we checked as of now is as operator, okay, that is for conversion or changing the type of the data. In MuleSoft, in Mule4, that is called conversion of data type. Okay, second operator that we are going to use for iterating over array of elements, okay, is map operator. Okay, so we'll use this map operator to iterate over elements. Okay, so as of now I'll just remove this, just cut it from here, and let's say I'll put it over here. Okay, we'll use it later on. Now in order to use a map operator, what we can do is that first I'll see my parent tag. So I'll say my parent tag is products. Okay, colon. Now I'll use payload, this much. Okay, so what it has done, it has kept all my payload within this parent tag. So this is my parent, and this array has started because payload is an array. The array has started after this. Now what I want is that I want to transform the data and use only specific elements for, and I want to apply the transformation for all the elements, within array. So we'll use a map operator. So to use map operator, just use payload space type map, then just type control space. It will automatically create the syntax for that map operator. Okay, it always assumes that whatever the payload or whatever the syntax you're keeping before that map operator is an array. If you keep something else, it will not work, or it might give some some sort of error the way it will show. Okay, so this is a payload, this is a map, and map has, like in Mule4 it has introduced the lambda expression. That's why the syntax has changed in some in lambda type of way. So map has two main parameters it takes. One, while iterating over elements, this item is a key, okay, for an index is a value, or item is nothing but the value, my bad, and index is basically the index of that element. Okay, and within this, after this lambda, this is called lambda. Okay, and after this here we can write our logic. So we can write our logic in curly braces. So I'll open the curly braces. Okay, we'll write our logic over here. Okay, so as of now you can see we are iterating over payload. Okay, so basically it has created the preview out of it. We are iterating over payload, and we are using map operator to iterate. So this is item is the value, index is basically the index of that element. Okay, so same way it has created the initial skeleton. Okay, so this is just a skeleton of our expression. And why it hasn't taken any elements? Because we did not write anything, the transformation logic, because transformation logic after map operator should come under this curly bracket, and as of now we haven't written anything. So it has just created the initial skeleton. Now we will use our logic. So again, what I want is that I want to wrap this key. So this is one object, so this is one JSON object, and this is the second JSON object. And as of now the sample response we kept with a size of 2, so that's why we have 2 sizes. So when your actual response comes, even though the size of array, your actual response changes accordingly, your map will iterate over that response and will create the logic. What we can do is that we will write our logic within this transformation. So basically each object will have our custom elements where we'll be taking out of it. Similarly, the same way we'll do it. Actually we can use the same one. Okay, so before that, what I want is that even before this curly bracket, I want to keep one parent tag over here. Okay, so what I can do is that I'll say within products, I want to use product. For each object there should be product parent tag, and I'll open this curly bracket. So what I have basically done is that for each product, so this is my product. Okay, and for each product it has created the parent tag. So actually it has created under within that. So I don't want within it, I just want before it. Okay, so we'll see that as well. So as of now, we'll create underneath of it and we'll write our logic over here. So I'll just simply use this logic. I can use this logic. Okay, I'll just copy from this place. Okay, so let's write it again. Okay, let's not copy it, so it might create again confusion. So what this time, instead of using payload, we can use these attributes. The item, to define the item basically represent the single object. This is one object. Okay, this defines each object during array during iteration, and index defines the index of that object. Okay, so if I say id, okay, I want to take id, then you just have to use item and then say dot. It will show you the elements. Okay, so basically item is I'm going to take is product id. Okay, now see, we have taken the id, and basically map operator will operate over all elements, and within that map we have mentioned our transformation logic that under product tag I'll take id, and for that id map that item dot product id. So item is basically object representing the each element within that array. Okay, and the index is basically index. Okay, now let's say index, we'll take the index as well. So let's say I'll just use index as a key and index as a value. Now you can see it has kept one index as a key, and the value is basically, this is since it's the first object, so this will be our 0th index, and this is our 1th index, right? So I'll just simply take this off right now. Now second we want is name, so I'll say item dot product name. Okay, simultaneously it is previewing it. Second and third we want cost, and we'll say item dot, I'll choose price. Then I want details, manufacturing details, and I don't want to create a nested object this time. I just want to use same way, so we'll say location, or instead of location I'll say address. So I'll use item dot manufacturing details dot company location. All right, now the last one will take the name, company name. So we'll say company, then item dot manufacturing details dot company name. Right, earlier we use index based logic, now we're using a map operator. So map will iterate over array elements, and within that map we will have our code which will choose specific elements, or basically it's a transformation. We'll choose specific element and will render, so our output will be in this format. Okay, now if you don't want this product type, so we'll just simply remove this. We'll remove this bracket and this much, and it will create a format like this. So this is your array, this is your object. Now we'll just do one thing. Right now this address is just showing the city name. So what I can do is that I just simply hard code one string value and concatenate with this company location. So what I want is that this let's copy this response. Okay, let's take it over here. Right now this is just the address is showing just the city name. What I want is that it should be something like this: street 1, comma Mumbai, something like this. So street 1 will always come, again it will come here. I want it over here for the second elements as well. Okay, comma. So this street 1 is basically I'm going to take it as a hard-coded string. Okay, so I will use this hard-coded and I'll try to append this to my this element location. So what I can do is then just basically we're going to concatenate a string, and as you know, for concatenation we'll have one, like let's say street 1 and 2 plus operator will concatenate. So basically, let's say we'll put one comma. So basically, it has concatenated that string. So that's also you can do. It's the only reason I use this, because that in your DWL logic you can concatenate, or you can append hard-coded string values to your actual transformation. That is also possible. All right, so I'll just simply remove. So this is the one transformation logic. So as of now, we did the transformation in JSON form, that is the JSON to JSON. Now, first we saw how we can write our logic manually, how we can code our logic. Second way is drag and drop of, or mapping the elements directly using drag and drop action. So how we can do is that in the input side, we mention the payload, or we mention the metadata, my bad. We mention the metadata, that what sort of output we are going to have out of this request object. So basically this input metadata is nothing but the input to this transform message. Okay, so this form of data, this sort of data we're going to have from input. What we're going to output is, as of now, this is the JSON, and we have these many elements as output, because it is taking the same one. We haven't changed anything, so it has taken the same one. So basically, as of now, you can see in output it has shown the array object. Okay, so you can consider this as a metadata of your output. So your output by default as of now will be an array of object in the JSON format, because we changed the output type to JSON. But instead of having the entire object or the entire payload as is, I want to map only specific object. Earlier we did the same but manually. Now I will map it. So I want product name as an element, first element. I want product ID, then I want price, and then within that I want this manufacturing details. Okay, so for that purpose, so let's close down the preview for now. Now I want product name first, so this product name should be mapped to my product name. So this is going to be output metadata. So I just type product name to product name, so it will automatically create your transformation logic. So it has itself implicitly place map operator. This is going to be your item, this is going to be your key, this is going to be your index. Okay, this is value, this is index. Okay, let's not take this as a key. This is value, this is index, and we are mapping this product name to your product name. So it has automatically created that logic. Now I would say I want to take product ID as well. So I will take this product ID, and since this is my output metadata, I'll map it to product ID. So it will write a logic for it. I want to take price, I'll map it to price. Okay, now the name, the labels at the in the output metadata and the input metadata is same. And if you choose to have a different metadata for output, then this label may change. Okay, right? Okay, so we choose product name. Now we want to go under our manufacturing details and map it. Okay, so let's say I want to take this manufacturing company name, I will map to company name. So this time it will create the manufacturing details as an object, because the metadata is similar with this. Okay, and then I want to take company location, so I will map this company location to within it. Okay, you can map, it's not necessary to map manufacturing details to manufacturing details from the left and right. It's not necessary. If it's a type string, and if you have anything like, if you want to map this product company location to product name, you can do it. That's absolutely possible. Okay, so this is going to be your transformation logic. So if I turn on the preview, you can see it will automatically create the preview out of it, and this is going to be your specific product object. Okay, so what we can do is that just simply you take this, cut, paste, and put it over here. Okay, comma, and we'll remove this comma. Okay, looks simply better. So this is going to be our first object, this is going to be our second object. So when I make a request to this get products resource or the endpoint, I will get the response back in this format, because I choose to transform that actual response in different JSON format. Now, can we do it in XML? So can we have our transformation logic in XML? So first we will do manual XML transformation, just the way we code for a JSON, and then we will go for actual mapping, that we put the output metadata as our sample response of our XML form, and then we'll try to map that. Okay, so I'll just I will remove it, just change it to wherever it was, or let's put payload. Okay, that would be like same response. Okay, let's choose to preview, and let's open this. Okay, actually it's running the preview. Okay, now we will first, the thing you need to do in order to take output as XML, you need to change this output type. So output type will change to application/XML. Now it has given some problem. Okay, what is it? Actually it's saying cannot curse array. Okay, the actually array is of object, the product array, into cannot curse an array of that object into some format of XML. Okay, so basically what it's saying that this is an array. Okay, this is an array, and you cannot convert array directly to an XML format. In XML there is no type, there is no no such thing called array. Okay, you need to have one parent tag. So basically, so if I open it, or do I have it anything, you always have one parent tag. So let's say this is a sample XML. Okay, you always have a parent tag. You cannot have any tag starting from this, like JSON, the way JSON always started. JSON has the option to start with like this. Okay, even though you don't have any like parent tag to it, or just like this is one object, right? It does not have any parent object, still it works. In JSON it works, but in XML we don't have such things. You should always have one parent tag, and all your tags should reside under it. Although it may be nested, say this is one product object, right? So this is one product object, but this is one product as one parent tag, and under that you have all your elements. Same way, this error is saying same. You cannot have a payload as is, because payload is an array. So you cannot keep payload as is to your parent tag. So can we try something like, can we place one parent tag to it? Let's say I'll put one products as a parent tags, and we'll use this, and I'll open the curly braces, and I'll use this payload within it. Can it work? Yes, it's working, but again with some problem, because payload is an array. Okay, so what we'll do first, we'll first try to use index space, and then I'll use, okay, again this is the catch. Again, within the products as well, here you can say even this is a parent tag. Again, even to define any value, you need to have such kind of tag. You cannot have a value itself. So I will define product ID. So let's take for product ID colon, I'll say product payload 0 dot product ID. Okay, this is the one. Even though if I choose only index, it will take this way. So basically what it has created a one product ID as a parent tag, and all the elements within this payload. Okay, so this payload basically has this payload index as this much. This is the index, and this is many elements. So this is basically we're referring this much, and all the elements, child elements within it is like this. So it takes this elements, okay, and choose that and put it under this product ID as a parent tag. So first products as a parent tag, the main parent tag, then it has created a product ID, the one we define over here, and all elements from that payload from the 0th index kept under it. So all elements are kept under it, right? So this way it has created an XML. So let's say give some meaningful name. Instead of product ID, we'll choose as a product, right? Got it? Now again we are doing the index specs for now. So this is the product. Okay, so this is one product we have created. Now let's say I want to choose only specific elements out of it. So similar to that, we will just remove that. We'll open the index. Okay, same way it has created one tag. Now within that tag, we'll use only specific element, the way we did for JSON. So I will choose ID, and I'll use payload at 0th index dot product ID. I've used ID, right? Then I will use name, same way. It's very minor difference between XML and JSON transformation, the coding perspective. There shouldn't be many major difference. It's just that your main coding logic should be enveloped under main parent tag. The actual coding logic should have one main parent tag. Then whatever the coding similar to JSON will remain the same. Okay. Same way we can take manufacturing details. Okay, so let's say MF details, and we can take entire object over here, payload dot 0 dot manufacturing, right? It has taken entire nested object and created into the XML format. We choose JSON, we are responding back with XML, right? Now again, so far we have made our logic over what we can say index base. Now we will use a map operator and we'll try to iterate over it. Okay, so let's take this off. We will use payload. Again, the map logic will remain the same now. Map control space, you will have your syntax, and let's open the curly bracket within it, and I'll just open it. And now you can see the preview has given the two product tag because it is right now iterating over your sample response. Okay, it is iterating over your payload array, and here you can keep all your logics, like say ID, and now I'll use item. So this time instead of item, let's give some meaningful name to this value. So this is actually a value or object representing a single the JSON object right now. So this is value dot values product ID, then I will choose name, value dot product name, then I will choose type, value dot okay. Type is actually basically defined keyword within what you can say Mule in the DWL. So you cannot use type as is. So I will change it to product type. Okay, I'll choose product type. Okay, last, and we'll simply say address, same way the one we did earlier, value dot manufacturing details dot compile location, right? Same way we got the preview, and this is going to be our output after we hit the request. Okay, let's try to hit the request. Right, see, we have only single product. Okay, that's the reason we got product as this is actually the products as a main parent tag, and within it we have one product as a main tag which define one object, and underneath it, and we have like we choose elements like ID, name, product type, and address. So this way we are transforming our data or the JSON format of a response into XML1.